Welcome back to this month's Good News episode, and this month we have a very, very special guest who some of you may recognise if you were here this time last year. And that special someone is my younger brother, Jack. Jack, do you want to say hello to everyone? Hello. Jack is the first friend I ever had on this wild, wild planet that we live on. He's been there to make me giggle through the highs and lows, and Jack is also autistic, and this month, as it's Autism Awareness Month, I wanted to dedicate this episode to the wonderful people either within the autistic community or supporting them. So I'm mixing in some autism-related stories with our normal monthly good news stories. If you've been here before, it's lovely to have you back, and if you've been enjoying these roundups, tap that like button down below to help spread some goodness on social media. Jack, shall I keep talking or shall we let's go and get some good news? Good news, let's go. Let's go get some good news. So let's get into it. Here's some good news from April that you might have missed. And we're starting in the Netherlands, where I met a really cool team that found a way to turn boring grey concrete walls into living green spaces using a super simple technique. It's been developed by Respire, based in the Netherlands, who've designed a way to grow moss directly onto buildings. Here's how it works. First, they apply a special bioreceptive concrete layer to a wall. This concrete is designed to hold moisture and create perfect conditions for moss to grow. Then, a moss coating is added, containing selected moss species and nutrients. Over around 12 weeks, the moss establishes itself and spreads across the surface. The result is a self-sustaining green wall that survives on rainwater alone, with no permanent irrigation needed. One of the big questions I had about this was, won't it make the building super damp? Apparently not. The moss only grows on the top concrete layer and actually protects the structure underneath from weathering. Cities are dominated by concrete that traps heat and worsens air quality, but moss changes that. It filters dust and pollution, absorbs CO2, releases oxygen, and helps cool buildings. With so many plain walls in cities, could moss be a solution to turn these spaces into living infrastructure that actually helps the environment? On a similar note, scientists from ETH Zurich are developing a living building material called Pycoplantonics that can grow, breathe and reduce emissions. Using 3D printed structures embedded with cyanobacteria, it absorbs CO2 from the air and produces minerals that strengthen the structure, opening up the possibility of buildings that actively remove carbon from the atmosphere. Now, our next story takes us to Italy, where there's a restaurant where every member of staff is on the autism spectrum. It's called Pizza, and it's designed to be a sensory-friendly space with quieter acoustics, simple colours, and clear routines in the kitchen. It now has 2 locations, more than 40 employees, and reservations booked weeks in advance. The idea started with founder Nico Acampora. After his son Leo was diagnosed with autism, he struggled to find opportunities for him and decided to create one for himself. What began as an idea in the middle of the night has now become something much bigger. For many of the staff, it's made a real difference. Some had struggled in other environments, but in the restaurant, they're working, gaining confidence, and building independence. And for Nico, the goal isn't to stay unique, but the opposite, that one day, opportunities like this are everywhere, and a place like Pizza isn't needed anymore. There are more than 600,000 people with autism in Italy, many of whom still struggle to find opportunities. So if you'd like to support what they're doing, you can donate through their website here. Jack, as a thank you for being my special guest, do you want some pizza later?
Pizza.
What type of pizza do you want?
Pizza.
What type? Do you want pepperoni or margherita or cheese? What do you want on your pizza?
Juice, pizza, pepper, cheese, and tomato.
You want pepperoni, cheese, and tomato, and a juice?
Juice.
Nice. So this time last month, I was over in Johannesburg in South Africa, hearing about solutions across the health space with a group of amazing fellow creators. And one of those creators was my good friend Nandi, who helped launch this. It's the world's first autistic Barbie doll, designed with the autistic community to help more children feel seen. It represents common ways autistic people may experience, process, and communicate about the world around them. For example, it has flexible arms and wrists so it can reflect movements like stimming or hand flapping. The eye gaze is slightly to the side, representing how some autistic people may avoid direct eye contact. It comes with a fidget spinner that actually spins, helping with focus and reducing stress. There are noise-cancelling headphones to help manage sensory overload, and a tablet with AAC communications supporting non-verbal communication. Even the outfit has been carefully designed with soft, loose-fitting fabric and flat shoes for comfort and ease of movement. My friend Nandi was one of the amazing individuals who helped to launch it. So why is this doll so important and necessary?
This doll is everything. It's so beautiful because, you know, for a community that usually is excluded, it's beautiful to see how just Mattel and Barbie were so intentional about creating a Barbie doll that's so inclusive for the neurodivergent kids out there, as well as us mothers get to celebrate it as well, and fathers. It's really, truly incredible. But also just a celebration of just being neurodivergent and autistic. Can you believe it? The first autistic Barbie doll. Incredible.
It's been developed in partnership with ASAN, a non-profit disability rights organisation run by and for autistic people that advocates for the rights of the autistic community. Jack's version of a fidget spinner is his Mr. Men book, so he takes them with him everywhere he goes, and he'll usually flick through them, as I think that sensation and repetition is very calming for him, and he literally knows all of them off by heart. Jack, can you... What is number 16? No, you can't cheat. What is Mr. Men number 16?
Mr. Noise.
Mr. Noisy! There's a proof. There's a proof. Our next story takes us to Uganda, where for the first time in over 40 years, rhinos have returned to the wild after being wiped out by poaching in the 1980s. The first 2 rhinos have now been relocated into a secure sanctuary in the Kadipo Valley National Park, marking the start of an effort to rebuild the population and restore a key part of the ecosystem. In another wildlife win, monarch butterfly numbers have surged in Mexico by 64% this year, with the area they cover in Mexican forests growing significantly. This rebound is being linked to improved weather conditions across North America, and ongoing conservation efforts marking a major turnaround after years of decline. And over in Chile, they've just created one of the world's largest fully protected marine areas, safeguarding nearly 1 million square kilometres of ocean. The move was driven by local island communities who've sustainably managed the waters for over a century, helping protect unique species like the Juan Fernandez fur seal, and meaning over half of Chile's ocean is now protected. Our next story takes us to North America, where one of the biggest wildlife corridors in the world is being built right now. A huge network of wildlife crossings, tunnels and fencing systems is reconnecting landscapes across the Rocky Mountains, spanning a 1.3 million square kilometre region from Yellowstone all the way to the Yukon. The campaign, supported by Planet Wild and the Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative, is helping tackle a major problem. See, over the last 200 years, roads and railways have fragmented nature, separating animal populations from each other like grizzly bears and forcing them into dangerous crossings with traffic. So instead of removing roads, they're redesigning them. They're building wildlife crossings, including bridges covered in soil and native plants, so animals can safely pass over highways as if they're still moving through the wild. And alongside that, fencing is used to guide animals towards these crossings, dramatically reducing collisions. And it works. In some areas, these crossings have cut wildlife accidents by over 90%, while helping reconnect entire ecosystems and reunite isolated animal populations. Now, using camera traps and GPS tracking, researchers are identifying exactly where to build the next crossings to scale this even further. Because this isn't just about one road, it's about restoring how nature moves across one of the largest landscapes on Earth. Are wildlife corridors, Jack? Are wildlife corridors good or bad?
Good.
Good, we like wildlife corridors. What I love about Planet Wild is that every month they team up with a carefully selected partner to carry out conservation projects like this one, to protect endangered species, clean up oceans and restore forests. And the team documents all their projects right here on YouTube, so the community can see the impact of their contributions. As a member of that community myself, that's pretty awesome to see. If you want to support them too, the first month is on me for the first 100 people who sign up through the link in the description box or through this QR code. You can pay whatever amount feels right each month, and you can cancel at any time. Together we can have an even bigger impact. If you want to see them in action first, you can check out their full wildlife corridor video here. So as part of growing pushback against AI-generated content, organisations are pushing for labels like human-made and AI-free to be used across the media space. BBC News reported that at least 8 different initiatives are now trying to create a globally recognised certification similar to the Fair Trade label. Experts warn that competing definitions could cause confusion, but if a clear and trusted standard can be agreed on, it could become a meaningful way to support and celebrate human creativity. Before the last couple of stories, I usually do a shout out to this amazing community we have here, but for this video I wanted to shout out all the incredible carers around the world who put so much support out into the world, even when funding for care is being stripped back left, right and centre. A couple of those people are our mum and dad, who put the needs of Jack and me and my sister above themselves every single week. Arguably, Jack is the one that causes them the least stress out of us three. Jack, do you love mum and daddy?
Mum and daddy.
And talking about family, my cousin Tom this year won a tennis competition and the prize winner got to donate $30,000 to a cause of their choosing, and he donated it to the National Autistic Society to help support people like Jackie over here. So mega proud of Tom, and I know he'll be watching this show too. So let's hear the last two stories, and the first one is that the UK has reached the lowest emission levels in over 150 years. In 2025 alone, they fell by about 2.4% and overall are more than half below 1990 levels, even though the GDP has nearly doubled. So, how did the UK manage to get to this point? A big part of it is energy. Coal has almost completely disappeared from the system, especially after the last power plant closed in 2024. Gas use is falling, partly because of warmer weather, but also due to efficiency and higher prices. Transport is also shifting, with electric vehicles becoming more widespread on UK roads and beginning to make a real impact. Just to put it in perspective, the UK is now back to emission levels not seen since Victorian times. So for our last story, I wanted to feature a 12-year-old autistic boy who's recently gone viral for giving out cake to show solidarity with communities that have been experiencing increasing levels of hate. This is Joshua, also known as Joshy Man, who's gone viral for his Cake Not Hate campaign. He came to visit a mosque in Birmingham, so I went down to visit him and his dad Dan to hear about how their initiative got started.
It was a very accidental thing, so we didn't get started through a campaign. We went to our local mosque in Peterborough, which had been attacked by a far-right person. And we went with some cakes because the Joshy Man is a great baker. That post and that kind of concept around Cake Not Hate got really big, viral quickly, and it was most unexpected.
What started as a single visit quickly grew into a nationwide campaign under the slogan "Don't Hate, Bake." So far, they've visited over 60 places of worship across the UK, wearing traditional robes, praying alongside congregations, and distributing Joshua's homemade cakes, which he loves sharing. Joshua has found calm and connection in the peaceful atmosphere of places of worship, and Dan says his son now has millions of aunties and uncles around the world who care about him. And that's a wrap, but before I end, I want to go off script a little bit and say firstly, thank you to you for being here, for watching this full video, and for opening your heart today. I think it's fair to say that it feels like the world is in a worse place than it was this time last year, although there's genuinely so much good progress happening. But it feels like aggression and bullying is the only way to win in the current world, and it's easy to lose hope or lose motivation to do good in a world like that. But in a world like that, it's always the vulnerable communities that suffer the most. Minority groups, communities that need care and support, it's super tough. But I'm not going to give up fighting for the good if you're not. So remember that even though we could be like miles apart, we're in this together and we're going to win, and I know we will. And before this becomes a 20-minute video, I just want to say I appreciate you so much. Jack, appreciate you so much. And I want to make sure we're keeping using this platform to create positive change. And that is only possible with your support. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Jack, we say bye. We say bye to there's going to be people watching this, but let's say bye to them. So say see you soon.
See you soon.
I'll see you soon, everyone. Bye.
Bye.